Nintendo just announced finally the Nintendo Switch 2. And the question everybody's thinking is, should you buy it? This is the Rent Podcast. I'm Owen and this is Eric. And we're going to discuss if you should buy it, if it's worth your time, if it's worth your money, or should we even be excited about it in the first place? We're going to discuss that a little bit today. And yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I mean, there's obvious improvements from the original Switch. I think probably most notably is the Nintendo Joy-Cons. This was a main focus in their little preview. I feel like, I mean, it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I feel like
very short,
probably 1.5 minutes was just looking at the Joy-Cons.
Mm-hmm.
So first big improvement off the bat is that they don't just slide and clip in like the Switch, which is good. Because I mean, those felt really flimsy. You could move them and almost like bend them like this when they were on there. They weren't very secure. They rattled around. Now they're gonna be magnetic, and they're gonna like snap in with magnets. So just right in the side, pop them out, pop them in your controller. So yeah, that was definitely a key focus here. But outside of that, you noticed a lot more updates to the controller as well that should help fix some of the issues that there were with the Switch 1 controllers.
Yeah, the first thing, I think they just look better. I like the different like neon-esque colors that they would do for the original Switch ones, but I like how they have the mostly black color and then the inside of it is like the blue or the pink like they showed for the original Switch. I thought that was cool. Cool little detail. I think they took out a lot of the unnecessary technology in there too. I may be wrong about this. We still don't know a whole lot about it, but the like HD rumble and then like one of the sensors or something was just not used on the Switch at all. Basically, if you don't really know, HD rumble is like you could take the controller and it's like if you're playing a mini game, you could like in Mario Party or whatever, you can move around the controller and feel how many like balls there would be in a box or something. It's like that sort of thing. And it's cool, but it's like it's not really needed, you know? So they're getting rid of stuff like that. They're bigger and the screen on the tablet is also bigger as well. It's not super bigger, but it's, you know, it's big enough. Definitely noticeable. And then they also fixed, this is a huge thing. The stand was a big issue. I didn't really
so bad.
I didn't really play.
You couldn't even use it.
Yeah, I didn't really play like that, really at all. But it for people who like, especially people who like traveled on like airplane travel a lot, you know, you want to set up on the little fold out table, you just really couldn't because it would just fall over and collapse. So it's a cool little change. It's a lot of quality of life changes that I'm seeing.
Yeah. The other things like on the point of the Joy-Cons is it looks like they fixed a lot of just kind of the tactile issues, I would almost say, of the original ones. The buttons felt tacky. They felt like something you'd get on a Temu version of a PS5 or something like that. They were so clicky, and I think that they're moving on from that. They're doing a more upgraded button. And they're really upgrading the sticks here. If you've played the Switch 1, you know the Joy-Cons are nefarious for having the worst stick drift.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that that's a big improvement from the last, because I think that is a huge area of improvement, especially when the Joy-Cons are so expensive to replace.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a big draw here.
Right. No, a lot of it is speculation, right? We only really got a 2 to 3 minute trailer, basically just
visual
saying
stuff, no specs.
That it exists, right? There's been so many leaks and rumors, and the reason why I said in the intro, finally, is because I would say for the past like 6 months, there's just been crazy rumors, and it's like people claiming stuff, people saying things that are wrong. And, you know, we don't know. We just didn't know. And I think Nintendo just did this because we're not even getting the specs and the in-depth trailer until April. Basically 3 months. So 2.5 months now, I would say. But it's basically like they made this announcement just to shut everybody up. And so the leaks would stop coming out. So that's obviously cool and interesting. But I think the biggest thing we can do right now is speculate. Also, this is just something quick to mention. Backwards compatibility. They did confirm that in the trailer as well, too. That is something that Nintendo got a lot of flack for. And other companies get a lot of flack for, especially Sony, not having that backwards compatibility in their newer consoles. And being that, you know, lock out of the gate is super nice, you know, for backwards compatibility for Switch 1. So that's cool. I do think some smaller things, these are very small nitpicks. I think the name Nintendo Switch 2 is kind of stupid.
See,
I
that's what I
can't
thought too.
lie.
That's what I thought too. But then I was like, what about PlayStation 2? Like, you got to think like
Yeah,
this. It's
but
not the first time this has happened.
right, but I feel like Nintendo, if they do like a sequel console, they name it something else, like the Super Nintendo or the Game Boy Advance or the
The Wii
3DS
U,
or the Wii U.
3DS.
Wii U sucked and that was like a failure, but like the other three I mentioned, Game Boy Color, they change the name. They don't just do Game Boy 2 or Nintendo Entertainment System 2. It's like maybe it's just a prompt name or like a holdover name or whatever, and they'll do something else. But like, I don't know. That's that. Like I said, it's a nitpick. Um, I think people. I don't think you have to worry about the Wii U situation though, because I think people are going to buy this regardless. But it
Yeah.
also could, because the reason why nobody bought the Wii U, because they're like, oh, I already have a Wii. Why buy another Wii? You know?
Yeah, when it
Um,
really was just the same thing. Which
yeah,
again, that's kind of the aspect I'm looking at here, where it almost does seem a little bit like a Wii U scenario, where
it could. It
like
very well could be.
a lot of people are like, I already have a Switch. I play all the games I want on a Switch, which is where I think the next point of topic here is what's gonna make people want to buy this year. We need the launch titles. The Switch one had the launch titles, you know. It had the games that were able to draw in the people to buy it right away. What is this
Mhm.
gonna have so differently that's gonna make people be like, all right, here's my money that I worked hard and earned.
Yeah.
Here's my money. I'm giving it to you for this. What do you
See,
think? What do you think we need here?
people were sold on the Switch. Okay, I'll say this. Um, Nintendo, like hardcore Nintendo fans and just Zelda fans were sold on the Switch because of Breath of the Wild. It was a launch title. We hadn't had a new Zelda game since Skyward Sword. That was a 5-year gap, very long gap for a new Zelda or 6-year gap. Sorry, 6 year gap for that. And Breath of the Wild was very highly anticipated, so that made a lot of sense. Um, I think 3D Mario is a must in some sort of the launch
Yes.
window. I think it's been since 2017. It's been basically since the Switch launched that we got a
It's
new
gonna
3D
be like
Mario game.
8, 9 years before we get another 3D
Um,
Mario game, which is
and if you go
crazy.
based off of like the other releases and the release windows for other Mario 3D Mario games, it's not been that long for a mainline 3D Mario game. So we're definitely due for one. Obviously, address the elephant in the room. They showed a new Mario Kart in the trailer. It's probably going to be a launch title. It looks different. It's not Mario Kart 8, and I'm happy about that because I'm so tired of
We've been
Mario Kart
riding
8.
Mario Kart 8 for
Um,
so long.
and the art style looks cool. It looks like it's based off of Mario Wonder. What is that Donkey Kong design? It's very interesting. So I think the Mario Kart launch title is a smart move, but I don't think it's gonna be the best move. I think the best in my mind, the best thing you can launch a Nintendo console with is a new Mario game or a new Zelda game. One of the two
Yeah.
is gonna be a guaranteed lock for the console success. You look at the Wii, it launched with Twilight Princess success. You look at what's the other one I was gonna say? Super Nintendo launched with Mario World, huge success. Now it doesn't always work. Mario 64 launched on the 64. The 64 is kind of a failure, but you kind of get my point. It's a guarantee. You're gonna get the launch title. You're gonna get the launch that you want if you launch with a Zelda or Mario game. Now, Mario Kart might be a different story because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was the best-selling Switch game by a mile. So, how do you entice people to buy the Switch 2? Like we were talking about, you sell them a new Mario Kart game.
But then I think at the same point here is there's so much content that's been pumped into 8 that I feel like there's going to be some people that like why start from the ground zero here
Right.
with a new game.
I could definitely see that too.
I think a point that comes across here when people looking at it are looking at buying this is that throughout the lifespan of the Switch, there really has been a pretty big lack of main Nintendo IP games coming through, and I think that especially formulates in the Mario world. Um, we should be getting more than just one game of each line or each IP in a 8, 9 year span. We should have more
Yeah,
than that.
I see
Eh,
what you're saying. Oh, sorry.
I just think there should be more than that, especially if you're putting down, probably gonna be $400, $500 to switch to.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put that much money down, you gotta be pumping out more content for it.
Yeah, I think price wise, 400, maybe 300. I think to touch that real quick.
I definitely don't think 300.
I don't think 500. I think 400 will probably be the number. I think 500 is too much. Nintendo never does that much for their consoles.
Yeah,
Always cheap.
I'm thinking 400 is the golden number here.
400 is probably the number, but I think to that point, Nintendo did that in the latter half of the Switch year. Switch's life cycle is because they were getting very complacent and they relied on games like Smash Bros. And Mario Kart and Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Party, games that already were just selling like crazy. And the new games that they pumped out were just mediocre and just filler titles. They obviously had some still good titles. You had Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder, Metroid Dread. What's the other one I was going to say? Kirby, the Forgotten Land. I think that's what it was called. So like they had new titles for their new IPs or their main IPs, but now you have to look at and start at ground zero with a lot of these IPs. Is you're starting fresh on a new console. How do you want to impact that new console? I didn't mention this before, we're probably getting Metroid Prime 4 either in the launch window or on launch day, which if that's the launch title with Mario Kart, excellent launch. That's going to set it up probably pretty well. You get a game that's going to be good for the casual Nintendo fans and one for the more in-depth hardcore Nintendo fans, which would be Metroid Prime.
Right.
So that'll be a sick launch. I think a couple of things Nintendo needs to really hit home with the Switch 2 is number one, try for the love of God to get third-party support. And I'm not talking about bad ports of PS4 and PS3 games. I'm talking trying to get actual
real games made for
third-party games. And, like, for example, you look back on the GameCube, even though the GameCube wasn't super successful, it got exclusive Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil games at the time. They were later ported, but they were originally launched on the GameCube. Kind of same thing. There's a couple cases with the Wii and the 64 to some extent, but get things like that. That is something that Nintendo has been lacking. Maybe they don't really need to look into that too much, but I think the Switch I don't want to say it's a one-hit wonder, but I don't think they can rely on that again for the Switch 2. And then the other thing is, actually, this kind of goes, there's two things together here. Revamp the online system and give us a quality virtual console. Quality retro games, not the subscription-based service where they're going to do it again, but make it better, make it more streamlined, make it easier to understand, and also put GameCube and Wii games in there, because I don't know why that wasn't done on the Switch. They added the 64 games and like, guys, look, we did it. We listened to your your complaints and whatever, and then they didn't do the main one that people wanted, which was GameCube and Wii, mostly GameCube, but
yeah. I'd like it to launch with GameCube, and then like they did for the 64, maybe later down the life cycle we get the Wii.
I just hope they don't reset. I hope they don't just say, guys, look, we're resetting it. We're back to NES and SNES games. I really hope they don't do that.
I don't think they will, because they already have set up the Game Boy, and 64.
That means it's not going to change too much, which would also kind of suck. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think if you're looking at this, really, it's like, how much do you love mainline Nintendo games?
Yeah. And what games do you prioritize too? Because there's some games that are going to be taking a while to come out.
If you're a parent and you just need, if you want to have something for your kids, I don't think the upgrade's necessary for you. I think for the first while of the life cycle, it's going to be games on both Switch and Switch 2. Mm-hmm. The time frame between games is not going to have enough longevity to make it worth your purchase. If you just like to have a console around the house to play with friends when they come over, you don't need to make the move. You can keep the normal Switch. You can keep the games. Even the new Mario Kart, as I believe I heard, will come out on both.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Makes sense.
You don't need to get a new one. If you love Nintendo and you love the games and the IPs and you want to see where they go, 100% get it.
Yeah,
100%.
I think the Switch 2 will be. I don't want to say off the bat if it's going to be better than the Switch. I'm not talking about more successful. I'm talking about just quality of a console, because obviously you can talk about the best Nintendo consoles and talk about the sales, but the GameCube didn't sell that much, but I think it's one of the best Nintendo consoles out there. I think it'll be better than the Switch, original Switch, just because they know the hardware better, and they know how to make this portability thing work better, and they know how to work around the Joy-Con drift, hopefully, and they know how to work around the online system, hopefully. And they also know how to work around the virtual console more.
Yeah.
Again, hopefully. There's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm hopeful for, and I don't know if Nintendo will do them. That's the big thing here. And I think somebody like me, and like me and Eric, is that guy. We're people who just want to buy new consoles, and just for us, and we still have a lot of free time that we can play these consoles, or enough free time to play these consoles. And I think for me to buy it day one, I need a really good exclusive that, even though if I can play it on the Switch too, like when Breath of the Wild came out, nobody bought it on the Wii U. Everybody bought a Switch to play Breath of the Wild. Nobody played it on the Wii U. We need a game like that, and that could be Metroid Prime 4. That could be. So I don't know. I think there could be some things that warrant the buy. I say wait until April 2nd. That's going to be the big indicator. And I don't know. There's definitely a lot of hype around it for me and a lot of other people, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's exciting. I think when we get a better look at what's going to come out with it and the actual specs, I think we'll be able to make a better decision right now. But at the moment, if you're casual, you just enjoy having the games around, say it's probably not the move.
Yeah.
If you're ready to usher in a new era of games, and they're going to be quite a bit different than like the Nintendo games you grew up playing. They're moving them in a different direction. If you're ready to go and follow those in a different direction, 100% go for it. No questions asked. It doesn't really matter what they say next.
And again,
this is going to be innovative.
It's a franchise by franchise basis. There's some franchises like 3D Mario, gonna have one soon. Mario Kart, obviously, we're gonna have one soon. Metroid Prime, gonna have one soon. But like Kirby, who knows? Animal Crossing, who knows? Zelda, gonna be a while. Pokemon, we might get Legend ZA at some point this year, and it's probably going to be on the new Switch. That would be pretty sick. But again, it's like what I'm saying is, if you're waiting, Mario Party is going to be a little bit. If you're waiting, it's like I want this to come out on the Switch too. Just play it by ear. Play it by ear. Whatever it gets announced. I'm not telling you to spend all your money on the console because it's going to be probably expensive, like we talked about.
Yeah. So yeah, if you like this video, give us a like. Let us know what you think of the launch trailer. I know obviously it wasn't a whole lot. Let us know what you think. Give us some predictions you have for it, specs wise, games wise. We'd love to go through it and maybe even make another video where we talk
definitely do a follow up
theories. But yeah, we really appreciate you. Give us a like, give us a comment, hit that subscribe.
Helps us out a lot on the road to 3,000.
On the road to 3,000. Hopefully hitting it soon. So
yes, sir.
Go out there and pay your rent.